China's population is collapsing. There aren't even enough kids to keep the kindergartens open. Welcome to China Uncensored, I'm Chris Chappell. China is well known for its people. It's many, many people. With a total national population of somewhere around 1.4 billion, it may seem like China has people to spare. And the youth jobless rate would suggest the same. But in truth, China is facing a demographic crisis. In 2022, China's total population fell for the first time since the 1960s, and it's been on its way down ever since. And in 2023, India passed China as the world's most populous nation. Meanwhile, China's population is rapidly aging, and China's birth rates are plummeting. The situation is getting so bad that kindergartens are shutting down across China, with some being repurposed as nursing homes. I've heard of 13 going on 30, but not 5 going on 85. But I guess this isn't the biggest change, since we're just swapping coloring and nap time for bingo and nap time. This trend has been going on for some time now. According to the Ministry of Education, at the end of 2021, China had nearly 295,000 kindergartens nationwide. But by the end of 2022, this number had decreased to 289,000. By 2023, the number was 274,000. And by the end of 2024, it was a mere 253,000. Even a kindergartner can do the math on that and see it's not a good sign. And it's not just kindergartens. Preschools are closing too. According to 2024 statistics from China's Ministry of Education, the number of preschools in China has decreased for 3 consecutive years. More than 5,600 closed in 2022, a further 14,000 in 2023, and over 20,000 in 2024. With nationwide preschool enrollment dropping to 35 million in 2024, down 5 million from 2023. One of the problems is that more than half of Chinese kindergartens are privately funded, and with Chinese people producing fewer and fewer children, only those schools capable of adapting can survive. Independent demographer He Yaofu told the state-affiliated South China Morning Post that kindergarten operators need to adjust strategically to meet new challenges, such as expanding early childhood education to include children under 3 and establishing an integrated care education system. Instead, what China is seeing are tons of closures, as well as the aforementioned kindergartens turned into nursing homes, or, according to state-run media outlet Yi Cai, mixed-use facilities that provide both elder care and child care services, so-called intergenerational care centers. So if you have somebody that loves applesauce and has no filter, this is the spot. Of course, Chinese media and sociologists are praising this phenomenon as supporting a flourishing silver economy. But it's more looking like a silver lining to a teeny tiny, potentially society-ending situation. You see, China's falling birth rates are no joke. If you hate crowds at Disney World, this may not sound like a big deal, but this is actually super important for the CCP. As part of Beijing's rapid military modernization and aggression against its neighbors, it has long wanted a very large army and still boasts the world's biggest, for now. To paraphrase George Carlin, they want live babies so they can raise them to be dead soldiers. Also, to paraphrase George Carlin, more people, especially more youth, also means more workers and consumers to stimulate the CCP's economy, an economy that is in dire need of stimulation. Instead, what China is seeing is a demographic collapse that some say is getting close to irreversible. If only the communists hadn't killed hundreds of millions of people throughout the decades with government oppression, starvation, or mysterious viruses. That's the true tragedy of mass killing. All that money they lost. But the problem runs much deeper than that. Decades of China's one-child policy meant limiting the number of babies per family, forced abortions, and harsh punishments for those who broke the rules. The fear at the time was that too many people might lead to a drain on resources, but the CCP didn't consider that humans are a pretty nifty resource. Communists not valuing human life? What a shock! And so the one-child policy resulted in a ton of issues, including a preference for boys, which has now resulted in a society that is a bit imbalanced. They should change their name to the Chinese Communist Sausage Party. About 10 years ago, the CCP relaxed its policy to 2 children, and then shortly afterward to 3 children. But a lot of the damage had already been done. And in China's faltering economy, more and more young people are choosing to have fewer children or none at all. For good reason. A recent study by Yuhua Population Research Institute revealed that the average cost of raising a child in China from birth to age 17 is $74,900. That rises to $94,700 when extended through undergraduate education. This makes China one of the most expensive countries for child rearing, with raising a child to age 18 costing 6.3 times the average income. So it's no wonder that young Chinese people aren't exactly rushing to have kids. As one Chinese woman born in the 90s told the Chinese language edition of the Epoch Times, "Among my friends, everyone complains about financial pressure. Those who have kids say the costs are overwhelming. Many people are simply too afraid to have children." She and her husband are currently unemployed and struggling with paying off a house they bought early in their marriage. Meanwhile, another Chinese woman born in the 80s, who is unemployed and still not married, told the same newspaper, "If I can't provide a good environment for a child, it's better not to have one at all. I don't want them to suffer like me." This attitude is increasingly becoming the norm among China's youth, especially women. The shock of the pandemic, which worsened the CCP's economy, didn't make things any easier. So what can the CCP do about this? Human cloning! But since there aren't any countries for them to steal this technology from, they'll have to try another approach. Obviously, fixing its sputtering economy and at least some political reforms would be the easiest option, but it doesn't seem like the government is willing or able to do that. Automated jobs would only be a band-aid on any worker shortage. And taking jobs from folks isn't exactly a great idea to fix the economy, since the economy kind of needs people with, jobs and money. The CCP has launched a survey offensive to find out why its people, quote-unquote, fear having children, and is also promoting government-sponsored initiatives to encourage people to have children, which appears to be working at least a little. Whatever China does to solve this issue, it had better work fast. Otherwise, it'll have to get used to swapping out recess for bingo. And just a reminder/warning, if you haven't subscribed, subscribe. And if you have subscribed, make sure you're still subscribed. Exhale the Rain says, "Wow, he said that YouTube has been unsubscribing people, and I just checked to see if I was subscribed, and I wasn't anymore. That's crazy." Yeah, things are tough. But you can help. First, by leaving a comment with the honeypot emoji as part of Operation Honeypot to show YouTube's algorithm that we have great engagement. And then by subscribing to our premium website where we don't have to worry about YouTube censorship, and you'll also get a bunch of exclusive content you won't ever see here on YouTube. That's ChinaUncensored.tv. You can just click this button that's been on screen. And if you wanted to see a fun side project I'm working on, check out this video I did about Hogwarts Legacy and why people are still arguing about Harry Potter being woke. Once again, I'm Chris Chappell. See you next time.